Hi, I'm Mal and welcome to another episode of MiniModelMakes. In this episode I'm going to talk through my latest project, which is some Space Wolf outriders, a bit of the background why I've chosen this project, some tactics or my thinking on some tactics for Space Wolf outriders, what they'd be good for, talking through the colour scheme that I've done, which goes with some other videos that are on this channel regarding sort of ice bases, frost weapons and other bits and pieces, heat bloom as well on the exhausts. First of all, I'll start now with an apology, which is I've not done a video for a while. I've been really busy with a new job, and Christmas and New Year has not left me much time for modelling, which means not much time for videos, but I'm back on track now and we'll crack on with this. So what I'll do is I'm going to set up the overhead cam. I'll go through the models, talk through the models and the bits and pieces I used for them and everything, with you looking at the models instead of me. Alright, so see you shortly. Here we have my Space Wolf outriders. I've got 5 in the unit at the moment. I'm not sure whether I'm going to do some more or not. I think it'd be pretty cool to add a couple more models, possibly for some tactical flexibility. I started painting my Space Wolves, or when I paint any army, I'm infamous for painting what I like, not necessarily what I'm going to game with, which bites me on the behind quite a bit, because I'll get some models, paint them up, do a pretty good job on them to the point where I then want to paint an army for them, and then pretty quickly on, when I start writing army lists, realise that the unit is either subpar or not going to fit with how I want to game, or lots of other things that basically get in the way. I've painted so many models that I don't game with because, say, for whatever reason, they just aren't going to be used. Very quickly on painting my Space Wolves, I got into my head like a pack on the hunt. A very fast moving Space Wolf army which is harrying down, chasing down the enemy, you know, tearing stragglers to shreds, or chasing a particular foe that Lehman Russ has deemed worthy of a quick execution. And as part of my thinking, I was inspired by a graphic novel called Lone Wolves, which the writing was done by Dan Abnett, and I believe the artwork was Carl Anderson. It's quite an old graphic novel, but in it there is an Imperial Guard unit, and they're stranded on an ice world called Shadrach. The Tyranids are closing in on them. They're going to tear these unfortunate guardsmen apart. There's sort of no hope for the world. And as they're trying to sort of escape the Tyranids or get somewhere, anywhere away from them, they encounter a Space Wolf unit who come out of nowhere and eradicate some of the Tyranids, and they're riding bikes. I really was inspired by that to go, you know what, I'm going to have a Space Wolf biker unit. Might not be the most powerful thing in the game or anything like that, but it will really fit in with the theme of the pack on the hunt, on, you know, these bikes harrying down the enemy. So I quickly bought some outriders. The Forge World outriders were, I think, £55. I don't know if they've gone up. Forge World prices always seem to be going up at the minute, which is a shame. It's becoming really expensive. But it's £55 for 3 bikes. In that you get the resin components, which are sort of the riders, the front, excuse me pointing with my fingers, the front part of the bike, the back part of the bike, and the weapons. You get the weapon, you get either plasma or bolters in there for the bikes themselves, and then you get plastic frames for the Space Marine Scout bikes. So the actual bike itself, one of the wheels is all plastic frame, and then you get all these extras like the little packs and grenades and ropes and things with the Scout bikes. So you get quite a few extra bits and pieces in there to play with, which is good. What I'll do now is I'll run through them. Excuse me, I'll start panning in and out with the camera and things. I'll move a few of these out of the way and I'll talk through them one by one. Zoom in, move him. Okay, so this is a claw leader I've decided on a bike which is based on the model or based on the character called Skald Greypelt, who is the leader of the wolves in the Lone Wolves graphic novel. It's just a basic bike for him from the box set with the bolters on, because he can't take the plasmas or melter guns are another option you can put on bikes. They don't have melter guns in the box set though. You can only have bolters. The bike and the bolters are all stock. It comes with a kit. Then I've got like a roll, a blanket or whatever. I don't know why they'd have blankets, they're in power armours. With melter bomb, so the model's nice and WYSIWYG. They're all from the bike kit. This backpack is from the plastic Not Beyond the Fell-Handed. Geigo Fellhand, that's it, the Geigo Fellhand model from the Raising of Prospero plastic set. The head is from the 40k Space Wolves, it's the sort of one you'd use on a Bloodclaw there. And the frost weapon is from the 40k Space Wolf upgrades. So what I really wanted to do with this guy is give him a Great Frost Blade, which in the rules is +1 strength, mastercrafted, AP2, and he gets Reaping Blow, which is -1 to initiative. So he's still going before power axes and power fists and the such. With him being a claw leader, he's got +1 initiative anyway, so he's going at the same time as normal Marines, which is alright. And he gets Reaping Blow, which means he gets +1 attack per enemy in base contact with him. You can sort of fit quite a few enemies on these bases, which is quite cool. I have actually put them on the 70mm ovals because they fit so much better than the little tiny ones that you get with the bikes. It means you can put a decent amount of scenery and stuff on them, which is pretty cool. What I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and get a bit better lighting as well, because it's not the best. That's better. Okay, so yeah, he's got the Great Frost Blade and then a normal bolt pistol for him, because while they get expensive really quickly in points, so I'm not really giving him a shooting attack. He's got the melter bombs anyway, it's just saving points for other things. What I've done is to mark him out as a bit different. I've put the stripings on the fairings, so he's got like a gold one for being the claw leader and 2 red stripes down the sides. Helps differentiate the bike a little bit. Space Wolf insignias from the old transfer sets. What I've done is I've put a Great Wolf on there to symbolise that he's been in a battle alongside Leman Russ, so he's got the wolf that stalks the stars on his bike. Basically every Marine that fights with my Leman Russ Primarch, I'm going to put one of those on as kind of a... I like my models, to tell stories, and I like to put transfers and kill markings on them when they do anything cool on the battlefield. It's another little way of personalising your army. I've done a video on how to base models with snow bases, and I've done a video on how to do the frost weapon effect and how to do the heat bloom effect on the exhausts, so please go and watch that if you're interested. The rest of the model, really, the way I've painted it... Oh, also I've done a video on how to paint faces really quickly, sort of a 5-minute job using the new Citadel contrast paints, which I think are brilliant for painting faces. I've done some stubble on this guy as well. I might have to do a video on how to paint stubble. Canicus grey spray undercoat. I then put a zenithal highlight with an airbrush of Dawnstone. So that's at a 45-degree angle kind of thing. It's Dawnstone mixed with quite a bit of Aircast thinner, a bit of Larmian medium to make it opaque, so it lightens it slightly, but it's difficult to sort of explain. But Dawnstone is just that little bit too light, so mixing it with a bit of the thinner still gives you that kind of lighter look to parts of the armour, but leaves the darker bits through. Also, then what it means is I can use a Dawnstone fine edge highlight over the top of the model, which I hope you can see there. The gold is Balthazar gold with Gehenna's gold over the top of that, and then it's Sycorax bronze as a very fine edge highlight. That's the same for all my wolves. And the bone is done using Citadel colour, the contrast skeleton horde, over a wraithbone base. What I then do is highlight it up with a Shabti bone and Screaming Skull. So use the paints over the top. I just use the contrast to give me a really nice starting feel. What you'll also see in the models is I use Agrax Earthshade in the nooks and crannies to give that sort of a shade effect. But that's him. That's Skald Greypelt. What I've then done is I've done an Apothecary to join the squad, because an Apothecary can take a bike. Now, what I did with this was I was quite brave and hacked a Forge World Apothecary Mark IV model in half to fit onto the bike. So all the top part of the model is backpack, head, pistol. The shoulder pad is all from the Apothecary model. And then what I've also got for his bike is, this is from the Dark Angel Ravenwing bikers. So to distinguish him as that medic, he's got his little medical vials and jars. It must be where he keeps his gene seed and things. And then another pack on the other side. If you can make it out, this is actually the Space Wolf symbol for medics, which is on the big sheet from Forge World, which is quite nice. And the same again with the striping for him. He's got white striping for being an Apothecary, and then just the red one in the middle as a contrast. Nothing else really special about him. I put the Mark IV Forge World shoulder pads on them. He's painted exactly the same way. What I've done is on the vials and things, it's like blood for the blood god on those ones, and then there's greens and blues. I don't know if you can make it out. They're just the Soulstone blue and the technical Waystone green. They give a really cool effect painted over white, which is quite nice. But that's him. The thing with having an Apothecary in the squad is, what you've got to remember is these bikers become toughness 5 when they're mounted on the bike. So it's only strength 10 weapons, which means you don't have to take strength 10 negates the feel no pain that the Apothecary gives the unit. So you're getting pretty much a 3-up, 5-up save on these guys against most weapons. And with the Claw Leader as well being multiple wound, he's only going to be instant deathed by something strength 10. So if you're sort of clever with him, he's going to be alright, and he can take his couple of wounds, hopefully, with a medic doing the job and keeping him alive. So they're the characters. They have to take bolters. They can't, as I said, they can't take the plasma guns. So when I came to doing the squad, which I've got here now, I was originally going to do a melter gun squad and use them to hunt armour. But with having the bolters in this squad, I thought it was a bit, you're wasting the bolters. So I decided, well, they might as well attack infantry and use the plasmas to attack things like Terminators, Artificer armour models and things. And then the bolters are just extra dice to chuck at them, but at least you can chuck extra dice. Where if they were shooting tanks, then the bolters are wasted, really. The other thing as well is you can equip the entire squad with melter bombs. So the melter guns, don't you just drive into combat, start sticking melter bombs against tanks. For the 25 points the melter guns are, you might as well spend that on a plasma, and then they're 5 points a model for melter guns on top. Best of both worlds. As I say, outriders are 90 points for a squad, and they get expensive really quickly if you want to start sticking melter bombs and melter guns and plasma guns and things on them. So it's trying to keep them points effective, really. Right, so we'll talk through. I'll move these away. This is the squad sergeant, Trigvass, as I've called him. He's got his melter bomb and some pouches from these little scout frames you get with him, another roll. And he's got the plasmas now and a power fist. When you upgrade this guy to the sergeant, he can start taking options, and every third member in the bike squad can take a power weapon. These guys are probably going to get stuck into combat, so the more the merrier, really. So he's got a power fist. If I do any more, they'll probably have a power sword or something like that. Say the plasmas for dealing with Terminators and things, which a lot of my armies seem to struggle with. This is the squad sergeant, or Huskarl. He's got his 2 red stripes down the fairing of the bike. He's got his little claws and things on his greave of his leg as well, to mark him out. And then with this squad, I've put like the lone wolf, because the lone wolves, they've got the lone wolf badge on the shoulder blades. I've done the pads in yellow, bit sort of old school, second ed 40k for them, but that's him. Same again with the heads. I've used heads from the Space Wolf 40k squads to stick on the models to give them a bit of Space Wolf flavour, differentiate them a little bit from normal Marines of other chapters. Then I've got my 2 normal bikers, Hunnar and Serco. They're all named from characters out of the Space Lone Wolves book, of which not much is mentioned about them really, apart from Scald Greypelt, so you've got to really concentrate to find the names of any of the other Space Wolves. He's got his melter bombs on the side there, pistols, chainsword from the Space Wolf box set again, just to differentiate him out. I've modelled him sort of at an angle on the base, so he's like he's starting to do a turn. And then a little shield once more from the Space Wolf frames. As I say, make him stand out a little bit more, a little bit different to the other models in the unit. That's him. And then just a bog standard grey fairing for that guy, because he's a normal Marine. And then finally, we've got Serco here, once again with the plasmas, pistol. I've put a close combat weapon on the bike there, so he's got it. Same again, melter bomb, little pouches, rope, and his blanket roll containing what other items he needs that his armour doesn't provide for him, mounted on that base. There they are. As I say, what I'll try and do is get them on a turntable and take a proper video at the end for you to have a good look at them under some decent lighting. So yeah, twin link plasmas, so they get the scout rule, so they can come on, I'm thinking they're going to come on from a flank, shoot up some elite infantry that I could have trouble with, and then with a bit of luck maybe get some pot shots at rear armour of vehicles. Plasmas are 6, 2 shots with them, so get into the rear armour of some vehicles, which is mainly 10, 11, you know, 4s, 5s, 6s needed. It's not bad, you can take down a tank with a bit of shooting. They've still got the melter bombs for combat. They'll get into the enemy's face quite quickly, which is good. The other thing is, with one of the Space Wolf rights of war, which is the Pale Hunters, you get +1 to your reserve rolls, so a greater chance of them coming on if you've kept them in reserve. And you get +1 attack against enemy models which are locked in assault. So if you've managed to get your Grey Slayers into combat and then your bikes are coming on from a flank, suddenly if your bikes ram into combat against something pinned by your Slayers, they're getting +1 attack, which is not to be sniffed at, which is great. The downside to the Pale Hunters right of war is you can't take stationary models and things, artillery, and you're only allowed 1 heavy support slot. So the outriders are fast attack, which is great. So you've got some quite good elite infantry killing methods, or even tank killing methods here, without having to use your heavy support slot, which is gravy, really. It's brilliant. Okay, so that is basically the talk through of my outrider squad. I will take some better pictures and get these on the turntable for you to have a look at as well. What I'll do is I'll wrap up this video. That'll be it. Okay. So that's my video on the Space Wolf Outriders, or the Lone Wolves as I'm calling them. Hopefully I'll get the chance to use them on the table soon, get some games against my colleagues down at my local gaming club. I hope you liked the video. As always, please like, subscribe and share. I'd be really grateful of that. What I will try to do now is I'll put some of the models on a turntable and have a proper bit of a video of them all spinning round so you can see them in better close-up detail. Okay, bye for now.